Welcome to the Binge Breakers podcast. I'm Jacqueline. I am here to teach you how I overcame bulimia and my binge eating disorder, and how you can too. Through simple steps of mind management, repairing your relationship with yourself, understanding your habits, and intuitive eating. Hello guys, this is Jacqueline. Oh my goodness. So it is episode 4. Each time I record a new episode, it's just super exciting for me, and I'm like, yes, another week down. I got a podcast out. And the topic today, I love talking about weight and body image and food and nutrition and weight loss and fitness. I love all those things. But body image is something that I think is really important, so we're going to dive into that today. And body image is a tricky issue, but I really want to go over how to love your body and have a good body image as you are and still want to improve. What I'm offering is that you love yourself and your size and yourself where you are, and you can still want to lose weight. And so we're going to get into how that's possible in a bit. But the first thing I want to go over is how people that struggle with bulimia and eating disorders and weight loss seem to view their body image, and how I used to view my body image. So from a very young age, I started attaching how I looked to my self-worth. And this is something that you don't want to do, because a lot of people think that your self-worth has something to do with what you look like, but it doesn't. I started to think that the way I looked and how I fit into my pants or didn't fit into my pants, how big my thighs are, how much cellulite I had on them, how small or not small my waist was, how much face fat I had or didn't have. I thought that started to mean that I am worthy or I am not worthy. And of course, the bigger I got, the less worthy I became, and the meaner I was to myself, and the more I hated myself. And the thinner I was, then in theory, I would think that I have made it and I am worthy. I used to make it mean when I couldn't lose weight or when I would binge and purge that I have no work ethic, that I have no self-control, that I am just a horrible person. I used to make it mean so many things, and I projected those thoughts onto other people, because when it comes down to it, no one actually cares about how you look. Yes, as humans, we do use our visual perception as the first way to judge people and things around us. Visuals are important, and I'm not saying no one ever judges you on how you look. But what I'm saying is, in day-to-day life, no one really cares what you look like, and especially your friends and your family and your loved ones. If they're true friends, they're people that truly care about you. They're going to love you at any size, and they're not going to care if you're a little bit thicker or thinner. I used to think while I was losing weight that everyone around me could tell how much weight I was losing. Everyone cared, and everyone was going to be so much nicer to me when I lost my weight, or everyone, like the world was just going to open up for me when I lost weight. I literally thought things would be easy. I was just so obsessed with the way that I looked. I thought that having an attractive body an attractive body means what I thought was attractive, which was me at 145 pounds, then my whole world would change. And of course it didn't. And whenever I would get to a lower weight, I still wasn't happy. And I still hated things about myself. I still thought, well, you're thinner, but you're not doing good in these areas. My negative self-perception and my negative identity just shifted. Instead of on my body, it shifted to how I wasn't succeeding in this way or that way in my life. And it just was a negative feedback loop that I was in. And what I really needed to do was realize that I had to be happy where I was to be able to move forward, and I needed to stop getting my validation and my self-worth from what other people thought of me, or from what I perceived other people to think about me, because again, no one really ever cared. It's just hilarious how wrapped up in your head you can get about your own body and how much you care. It's like when people go to the gym and they think everyone's looking at them and they're nervous, when really everyone's just concerned with themselves. It's the same way in life. Everyone's really primarily concerned with themselves, and it's just human nature. And it's a little ridiculous that we're all so self-absorbed. So you really need to stop attaching your self-worth to your body image, because they have nothing to do with each other. How your legs fit in your pants has nothing to do with what kind of person you are. Maybe it says something about the behaviors you have. Maybe it means that you're overeating, or maybe it means that you're undereating if your pants are really loose and you're underweight. But that doesn't make you a bad person. What makes you you is what you think about yourself. And you have to decide that. No one can tell you what you think. You need to choose what you want to think about yourself and your body in order to ever improve. And you can't do it from a place of negativity. When you come from a place of self-hatred, you're going to really demotivate yourself to even try. Because if you hate yourself, if you think you're such a horrible person, then why even bother trying? Because you know you're just going to fail. Versus if you empower yourself and you think, you know what, I am capable, I am strong, maybe I'm a bit overweight, but that doesn't matter. I can achieve the goals I want physically and beyond. Because remember, weight, again, is just a number on a scale. It doesn't have anything to do with your life. The first thing that I did to repair my body image was that I started to look at myself in the mirror and understand that I am just a human. I stopped looking at myself as this. I looked at myself in a really disturbed way, if I'm being honest. There was never a moment I looked in the mirror and I didn't think, wow, look at those big shoulders, look at your big thighs, look at your uneven skin tone. I would just pick myself apart. And instead, I started to think of my body as neutral and think of my body as, you know what, it's just a body. Bodies have different types of flaws, different types of things. No one's perfect. It's just a body. And I started to try to be grateful for the body that I have. Because when you think about it, I was coming at it from a very narcissistic point of view. I really just thought that my self-image was the only thing that I had, when really that wasn't true at all. And I should be grateful that I have a functional, healthy body. Even when I was a little bit overweight, my body was still very healthy. Of course, I feel much better and healthier at the weight I am now, but it doesn't mean that my body wasn't capable at 170. So I started to look at it as neutrally as I could, and then I started to pick out the things that I did like about my body and focus on that instead of focusing on all my flaws. And I wrote out everything that I liked about my body. I used to really hate this about myself, but I'm taller, and I used to hate that I was the tallest girl in the room, almost always. And instead, I chose to think differently about it, and this is very important when I'm saying, I'm going to repeat it. I chose to think differently, and I chose to stop hating myself for being tall, something I literally couldn't help, and I chose to think instead, you know what? You're a tall, strong woman. And I started to think of myself as sexy and beautiful because I was tall, but that thought just didn't, I just started to appreciate my height versus hating it. And instead of looking at my wide swimmer shoulders, which are really great for strength and lifting weights, which is something that I love to do, I stopped looking at them as such a negative flaw and started to appreciate what my body could do. I started to appreciate how athletic my body was, and it started to help me see my body in a much more appreciative and grateful way. I started to be grateful for my body. I was listening to a podcast recently, and we've all heard stories like this, but this woman who had a completely normal life, very average, very happy, but then she was in an accident when she was 29, and she completely lost all feeling in her legs. And she's just paralyzed from the waist down. She had to rebuild her life completely. But then here I was, focusing on the fact that, my thighs were a little bit too big, and I wasn't really happy aesthetically. And don't get me wrong, you should be able to change your body, and if you want to lose weight, you have complete right to do that. But you need to be happy and accept your body and be grateful for the body you have, because it's the only body that you have. Really start to look at body image as what your body's capable of versus just what it looks like. You're a human that has tons of potential in terms of intelligence, in terms of physical abilities. You have hands. That's an amazing adaptation if you think of it evolutionarily. There's so many things that you can look at on your body and think, wow, that's awesome that I have the ability to do that. Even if they're just normal human things, they're amazing. So I started to appreciate the things that were unique about my body and the things that weren't even unique, just, the fact that I had hands, that I had legs. Just looking at it as neutrally as possible and being grateful for it is a great place to start. With all of that being said, now I want to talk about how to improve yourself and come at it from a constructive way. And the reason that I harped on self-worth not being attached to body image and accepting your body where it is because it's really hard to improve yourself when you're coming from such a negative mindset. They always say you can catch more flies with honey, I believe is the saying. That's what my mom always used to say to me. But it's true. Just how if you were to train a dog, when I trained my little dog, he is much more receptive to treats and positive reinforcement versus negative reinforcement. And people respond to positive reinforcement just the same. You're much more likely to want to do well in a class or do well for your boss if you work in a positive work environment where you're rewarded for doing good things versus improving your work quality out of fear. And of course, people can do things out of fear. I lost 25 pounds out of self-hatred, but it led me to fall into a really deep, dark depression and bulimia, and then gain all my weight back and lose it all and gain it all, and just a vicious cycle. Versus when I lost weight in a very patient, compassionate way, in a realistic way, always, always, always loving myself and accepting myself where I was at, and giving myself reasonable things, sustainable ways to lose my weight. And I wanted to improve myself out of a place of compassion and wanting to see what I could do next. Not a, you need to improve, because if you don't, you're gonna fail. And if you don't improve, then you suck. Instead, I said, wouldn't it be cool if we could do this? Like right now, I'm training to run. I downloaded a running app. I'm not going to tell the name because I'm not sponsored by them and I don't want to endorse them if I decide not to use it long term. If I'm still using it a month from now, then I guess I'll share the name with you guys. But I'm training to run right now, but it's not in a way that I'm trying to torture myself or give myself more cardio because I think I'm fat. I'm training to run because I've always admired runners, and I just think it would be really cool if I could run. And right now, during COVID-19, I have more time, so I can run every morning. And it's been a fun challenge for myself versus coming at it from a place of self-hatred. I'm running because I want to take care of my body and I want to improve my body. I want to be healthy. But I don't think that me being a runner will make me a better person. And that's what I'm trying to get out with all of this, is that if you want to improve yourself, you first need to accept yourself where you are. And then when you want to improve yourself, you need to ask yourself, why do I want to improve in that? Is it because I think that losing weight is going to make me magically better? Because that's not true. But is it because losing weight, I think, would be a healthier choice for my life? And I think that I would look better at that weight. I want to get there. That can be a better reason. A lot of clients that I talk to, and myself included when I was losing my weight and when I was suffering from bulimia, I used to be in such a rush to lose my weight until someone asked me, one of my coaches asked me, why are you in a rush to lose the weight? Like, why is it important to you? And I was kind of taken aback by the question, and I kind of thought, of course I want to lose the weight. Like, wouldn't it be best to get it off as fast as possible? I need to lose the weight right now. And they proposed the question of, if it took you 3 years to lose 20 pounds, but you permanently kept off that 20 pounds for the rest of your life, it would never come up, would you take that time to do it? And I said yes, because as any of us know, it's really painful once you've lost all your weight to gain it all back again and find yourself in the exact same situation that you were once in that you never wanted to go back to. But the question made me realize that I thought losing my weight would suddenly somehow magically improve my life. And we've already gone over why that's not, but I realized that I needed to stop being in such a rush to lose my weight because I thought that it was going to change something drastically. And I thought it was going to make me a better person when it wasn't. And I realized I needed to have compassion for myself because changing behaviors is hard. And weight loss and recovering from bulimia, it's a behavior change, it's a habit change. And you need to have compassion for yourself as you're losing weight because you will fail, you will mess up, and that's part of being human. But if you have your self-worth and your self-value tied up into how you look, and then that correlates to self-hatred, then it's going to be really hard to lose your weight in a compassionate way and in a sustainable long-term way. So I'm going to go over those kind of the whole theme. First of all, again, highly, highly important, your self-worth has nothing to do with how your body looks. It has nothing to do with how your body image is. And it has nothing to do with what other people think of you. Your self-worth exclusively is tied to you and what you think about you and what you choose to think about you. I should remind you, you always can choose whatever you want to think about anything. It's very important. You always have the power to think differently about anything. Secondly, you need to start thinking about your body image differently. You need to start looking at your body and think about it first as neutral. Think about your legs just as legs. That's a leg, that's a stomach, that's a shoulder, that's a nose. Think about it for what it is, not all of these arbitrary attachments you have to it. And then start to think about the things and focus on the things that you are grateful for, even if it's just, I have a healthy, functional body. I still have the ability to move my hands. I can think clearly. My body provides a vessel for me to go about my day every day. And it does so many amazing things for me that I don't even have to think about. It's really something to be grateful for. Our biology is fascinating. So start thinking about the things that you can be grateful for when it comes to your body. And then start to pick out the things that you like about your body. Instead of choosing the things that you hate about your body, start to focus on what you love about your body. And don't waste time thinking about the negative things. And you can always choose to think differently about something that you used to hate. For me, it was my height. I used to hate it. Now I love it. You can choose to think differently about how you feel about your body. It's about how you view it. And you have the power to change that and think differently. And then lastly, to improve your body, because remember, you can accept your body and still want to improve it, come at it from a compassionate way. Always, always, always have compassion for yourself. Have your own back. And whenever you fail or mess up at something, when you're on your journey for improvement, think of it as a learning opportunity. And really understand why you're wanting to improve it. Even if it's just, I want to look better. You can want to look better, and that's totally fine. If you're just losing weight because you want to look hot, that's totally fine. I get it. Aesthetic goals are completely fine. But if you think that you being the hottest person on earth is going to make all of your problems magically go away, you need to rethink why you want to look that way, because it's not. You can be the hottest person on earth and still hate yourself. It happens. Trust me. When I lost all my weight the first time, I completely hated myself. There's pictures of me when I was at my first time I had lost all my weight and I was 145. I I remember being in a family reunion. I saw a photo of myself at the family reunion, and all of my relatives were all around me and they're having such a good time, but we were at a restaurant and there was fried foods everywhere and everyone's laughing, everyone's having a good time. But then there I was, and I was sitting in the corner. I had food on my plate and everyone was laughing and smiles on their face, and I looked completely miserable and I was staring at the food in front of me. It was just a very clear visual representation of how messed up my mind was, because instead of enjoying the moment, instead of being happy where I was, and mind you, I was at my goal weight, so in theory, I should have been completely happy, but because I was so scared of gaining weight back, and I was so scared of myself, I didn't trust myself, and I hated myself, I was completely miserable at that party because there was food. Losing weight does not solve all your problems. So really define the reason why you want to lose weight. Is it because you think it'll make you love yourself? That's not true. You have to love yourself and then lose the weight. So I'm going to wrap this up here. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Please give this podcast a review and a rating. It really helps the podcast get seen more. And I also have a free download on my website, bingebreakers.com, and that is the Drop the Self-Judgment free course. And it is a free course to help all of you drop your own self-judgment and self-hatred so that you can move on with your life and start to recover from bulimia and binge eating and negative self-esteem issues. Highly recommend that you download that. And then also, if you want to work with me, if you want to dive deeper into these issues and get coaching with me, then you can also do that on my website at bingebreakers.com. It's also in the show notes below. I hope you guys have a beautiful day and a great weekend. Remember to always accept yourself, love yourself, and come at your improvement and your goals with always a sense of compassion. I can't say that enough. There's so many people in this world that I wish knew how much they were worth and that they can always choose to think differently about themselves, and that it's always in your power to love yourself no matter what, and how important that is. Anyway, I'm going to leave you guys here. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Adios, guys. Bye.